Good morning, students. Welcome to class 5. So students, in our previous lecture, we have discussed electrode potential, redox potential. We have also discussed Latimer diagram of chlorine. We have studied the information that is conveyed by Latimer diagram in acidic medium as well as in basic medium. So students, in our today's lecture, we are going to study about disproportionation, Frost diagram and application of redox reactions. So let's get started. Disproportionation. Students, it is a specific type of redox reaction in which an element from the reaction undergoes both oxidation and reduction to form two different products. Over here, the metal ion M+ gets converted to M0, that is decrease in oxidation number from +1 to 0. That is, it undergoes reduction. And at the same time, metal ion M+ gets converted to M+2, that is increase in oxidation number from +1 to +2. That is, it undergoes oxidation. So we can say that same metal undergoes oxidation as well as reduction. That is, that metal undergoes disproportionation. The species has thermodynamic tendency to disproportionate into its neighbors if potential on right side of Latimer diagram is higher than that of the potential on left side. Frost diagram. A Frost diagram of an element is a plot of product of oxidation state which is denoted by capital N and reduction potential that is denoted by capital E0 against oxidation number of the element, that is N. A Frost diagram can also be regarded as a plot of standard reaction Gibbs energy against oxidation number. In general, the following observations may be made from Frost diagram. Frost diagram is regarded as a plot of Gibbs free energy against oxidation number. Therefore, the most stable oxidation state of an element corresponds to the species that lies lowest in the Frost diagram. For example, the most stable oxidation state in a Frost diagram shown corresponds to point B. The slope of the line joining any two points in the Frost diagram is equal to the standard potential of the couple formed by the two species represented by the points. So students, we can easily predict the spontaneity of the reaction between any two couples by comparing the slopes of the corresponding lines. More positive the slope, greater is the oxidizing power of the couple, and more negative the slope, greater is the reducing power of the couple. Next is predicting disproportionation with the help of Frost diagram. Frost diagram also helps to predict the relative stability for disproportionation. A species in a Frost diagram is unstable with respect to disproportionation if its point lies above the line connecting two adjacent species. In other words, a species will undergo disproportionation only if its point lies above the line connecting two adjacent species. For example, as shown in the figure, N2O4 lies above the joining NO3- and NO2-. Therefore, it is unstable with respect to disproportionation. Disproportionation takes place as under. N2O4 gives you NO2- plus NO3-. Nitrogen atoms are balanced on both the sides, so now we need to balance oxygen atom. So we need to add one water molecule on RHS and twice of hydroxide ion on the opposite side. Reverse of disproportionation is called comproportionation. Two species will tend to comproportionate into an intermediate species that lies below the straight line joining the terminal species. For example, the reaction between nitrogen 2-oxide and dinitrogen tetraoxide to form nitrite ion NO2- is predicted to be thermodynamically favorable because of the location of the species in the diagram. So over here, NO plus half of N2O4 gives you twice of NO2 minus. So we have to add one water molecule on RHS and twice the hydroxide ion on the opposite side. The following inferences can be drawn from the Frost diagram of manganese. First is, the lower a species is present on the diagram, the more thermodynamically stable it is. Thus, Mn plus 2 is the most stable species. Second, a species located on the convex curve can undergo disproportionation. Thus, MnO4 minus and Mn plus 3 have a tendency to disproportionate. Third, the species on a concave curve shows no tendency towards disproportionation. Any species located on the upper right side of the diagram will be a strong oxidizing agent. Thus, MnO4 minus is a strong oxidizing agent. Fifth one, a species located on the upper left side of the diagram will work as a reducing agent. Thus, Mn metal is a moderate reducing agent. Next is application of redox chemistry. In that, first is extraction of copper, also referred as auto-reduction. Most important metals like copper, lead, zinc, etc. occur in nature as sulfides. These metals cannot be directly reduced by carbon. The reducing agent, since carbon sulfide, is unstable and the free energy of formation of carbon disulfide is very low. The free energy curves of many metal sulfides are closely bunched and hence selective reduction becomes difficult. Therefore, it is necessary to change the sulfides into the corresponding oxides, which can be conveniently reduced into the metal. This process of reducing the sulfide ores into more easily reducible oxides is known as roasting. After roasting, the ore is taken for smelting process. Next is smelting. The initial melting of a material to be smelted is usually referred as smelting or matte smelting stage. Its purpose is to eliminate as much of unwanted iron, sulfur and gangue materials. Copper sulfide and iron can mix, but when sufficient silica is added, a separate slag layer is formed. Addition of silica also reduces the melting point of slag. Copper can be lost from the matte in three ways: as cuprous oxide, dissolved in slag, as copper sulfide dissolves in slag, or tiny droplets of matte suspended in the slag. Consider the extraction process with reaction. The overall process has series of reaction which are of redox type reactions. First is metallurgy of copper. In that, extraction of copper from sulfide ore. Large amount of copper are obtained from copper pyrite, that is CuFeS2, by smelting. Ores containing 4% or more copper are treated by smelting process. Very poor ores are treated by hydrometallurgical process. extraction of copper by smelting process. Following steps are involved in the extraction of copper. First is concentration, second is roasting, third is smelting, and fourth is bessemerization. First is concentration. The finely crushed ore is concentrated by froth flotation process, which is further suspended in water containing a little amount of pine oil. A blast of air is passed through the suspension. The particles get weighted by the oil and float as a froth which is skimmed. The gangue sinks to the bottom. Next is roasting. The concentrated ore is then roasted in a furnace in the presence of a current of air. Sulfur is oxidized to sulfur dioxide and impurities of arsenious and antimony are removed as volatile oxides. The following reaction takes place. Cuprous sulfide and ferrous sulfide are further oxidized into their oxides. Next is smelting. The roasted ore is mixed with coke and silica and is introduced into a blast furnace. The hot air is blasted and FeO is converted into ferrous silicate, that is FeSiO3. Next is bessemerization. Copper metal is extracted from molten matte through bessemerization. The matte is introduced into Bessemer converter which uphold by tuyeres. The air is blown through the molten matte. Blast of air converts Cu2s partly into Cu2O, which reacts with remaining Cu2s to give molten copper. The copper so obtained is called blister copper because it solidifies. SO2 hidden in it escapes out, producing blister on its surface. Consider impurities in blister copper and their effects. Blister copper is 99% pure. It contains impurities, mainly iron, but little amount of arsenic, zinc, lead, silver, and gold may also be present. These impurities adversely affect the electrical as well as mechanical properties of copper. Therefore, they must be removed. Next is refining of copper. Blister copper is refined by electrolysis. Blocks of blister copper are used as anodes and thin sheets of pure copper act as cathodes. The cathode plates are coated with graphite in order to remove depositing copper. The electrolyte is copper sulfate mixed with a little amount of sulfuric acid to increase the electrical conductivity. Optimum potential difference is 1.3 volt for this electrolytic process. During electrolysis, pure copper is deposited on the cathode plates and impurities which are soluble and fall to the bottom of the cell as anode mud or sludge. Consider the electrochemical changes during electrolysis. Copper undergoes oxidation by losing 2 electrons at the anode, so it is represented as copper gives copper 2 plus 2 electrons, and copper 2 plus 2 electrons gives copper, that is reduction, at the cathode. This electrically refined copper is 100% pure. So students, in our today's lecture, we have discussed disproportionation, Frost diagram, and the applications of redox chemistry.